If you've ever made videos and uploaded on YouTube or anything of that nature, like a news article or something, doesn't it kind of suck when you assume that information is right, but as it turns out, it may not have been right?
Pokemon! 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 Pokemon!
Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Benzel, and welcome to another Pokemon XY&Z anime discussion. Today we're going to talk about Pokemon Fan, the video you've been waiting for the most. Now, in reference to my intro that I was talking about, it seems that the data broadcast Pokemon may not have been as we assumed it was, or that I assumed it was, because it was a little wonky, and titles and information seems to speculate something else. But before I talk about the data broadcast corrections, let's go ahead and jump into Pokemon Fan. We have 6 images here, each with their own little thing. This Pokemon Fan was, I would say, a little disappointing because it just dealt with Ash's Greninja, but I guess we're getting into the heavy Greninja arc that is Ash-Greninja now at this particular point, at least this next coming Thursday with the Alon versus Ash, which is in like a couple of days, like 5 days, I believe, or 4 days, something like that. So yeah, look forward to my review in that, and I of course will talk a little bit about the Pokénechi preview in just a moment. First, let me actually get my stuff here. So the first image we have here is we have Wolfric, Sceptile. Wait, hold on. Let me try that again. We have Wolfric and Abomasnow, Sceptile and Sawyer, Dianthan or Mega Gardevoir, Mega Charizard X, and Alon. And then, of course, we have Ash with Ash-Greninja's form perfected, it looks like, in that particular image. And we have just normal base form Greninja right next to it. So, what does this particular image say? Greninja battles. Oh, wait, that's my title for the image, so I know which one to go to. Never mind, forget that one. Ash and Greninja, the 4 battles of their trial. 4 incredible opponents stand in the way of Ash, who has his aim at competing in the Kalos League. Together with Greninja, he takes on these 4 battles. And of course, the one that I'm dislike the most is the one we'll get to when I talk about it, when it's a standalone image that is in relation. But these are the 4 battles it's referring to. The Mega Trainer aiming to be the strongest, Alon and Mega Charizard. The Kalos Region Champion, Diantha and Mega Gardevoir. The Intelligent Trainer showed Sawyer and Sceptile. The Gym Leader of Snowbell Gym, Wolfric and Abomasnow. Ash-Greninja holds the key. Will he be able to master this power that's shrouded in mystery? Now, I want you to take a moment now and like pause or whatever and just think of those 4 battles. Which one do you think that I'm least happy about? No, go ahead. Put in the comments what you think, and then be like, oh, okay, that's what it was. And I'm pretty sure I may have already mentioned this before in one of my very earlier videos in reference to this, so you may have to dig back if you want to look at my previous videos. I think it was around the time we saw Frogadier battling Olympia and everything in regards to Greninja. At that particular point, I may have discussed it, maybe. Or maybe I only discussed it in the forums or whatever. But if you've seen me in the forums, then you know exactly which one I'm least happy about in regards to all of this. But anyway, let's move on to the next image. And of course, it's Alon here. What we got is some past images and some new images here. We have Mara next to Chespin with Lysander and Alon and Mega Charizard. And then, of course, we have this new image of this Thursday's episode of Mega Charizard X versus Greninja. Mega Greninja or Ash-Greninja. One of those is right. One of those is not. Ash-Greninja or Mega Greninja. Take your pick, people. And then right below that we see Mega Charizard X with Dragon Claw. And then over here we have, I think it was the previous video, where we have Charizard using Flame. I don't remember that. Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe it did use it. And then there's Blast Burn, and then, of course, Thunder Punch versus... I think it was Cut, wasn't it? Cut in the previous video. So anyway, this is what it has to say for this particular image. Alon has gone on adventures all over the world getting to battles against strong trainers and Pokemon. He has also mastered the power of Mega Evolution, making him an amazingly skilled trainer. In their last battle, not even Ash-Greninja was a match for it. This is Alon's partner Charizard. Ash-Greninja had the type advantage against it, but still got beaten by intense attack moves. And they were kind of neutral, though Greninja does resist fire attacks, so I guess in that sense it had the advantage, but then of course Charizard took neutral. Well, I guess technically Greninja still had the advantage over it. Blast Burn hit its mark. It had this kind of power even before Mega Evolving. Its flamethrower looks like it burns the opponent to ashes. Alon aims to become the strongest trainer with Charizard. What is Alon's goal? Novice trainer Marin's Chespin ended up losing consciousness after getting involved in an accident. Alon is gathering Mega Evolution energy in order to make Marin and Chespin get better. Alon is gathering Mega Evolution energy under orders from Team Flare's boss, Lysander. I will become strong so that I can protect those dear to me. How will this episode's battle go? Will the score be settled? Ash goes against the same opponents as the same duo from last battle. Will he be able to defeat Mega Charizard X now that he's sharpened Greninja's attacks? Okay, so that's that particular thing. Also note that I did watch the Pokenichi preview, and there is something shocking in that preview, and of course it's actually Ash passing out. The only problem that I have with it is I don't know why it's becoming a problem now when it should have been a problem last time when we had Blast Burn and we had all of that exhaustion going on. So it's like, well, it's kind of your fault for putting 2 episodes into 1 episode to illustrate the problem with this, or maybe they just wanted to wait a little bit longer before making something like this, or whatever they wanted with this. But even so, it's a little coming at a weird time after everything. And of course, some people are suggesting that maybe it could be as a result of Clement's devices, although I'm not really sure that makes any sense. It might be possible that the more times that Ash and Greninja bond together to have Ash-Greninja, this could just be simply powering up each time Ash-Greninja gets a little bit stronger because they're more used to this particular form change or whatever this thing is, and it might just be that it just reached to that particular next step, and maybe even Ash-Greninja will lose its shroud in this particular episode, and it might just be too much for Ash to currently handle. But I'm a little disturbed about how this is going to all end or whatever. Hopefully it just doesn't end weird, because right after this particular episode, of course, is the Diantha episode, if I'm not mistaken. So, or no, it's the Phantom episode. Never mind. So, hopefully things get semi-resolved or whatever. It just doesn't end with Ash in bed or whatever, and then in the Phantom episode, Ash is all fine or whatever. So, hopefully there is some resolution, and they have time to make a resolution. So, maybe Ash passing out or whatever happens, like, fairly early in the late end of the episode. Like, maybe there will be, like, 5 to 7 minutes left, and that'll be time for Ash to recover, or whatever the case is. But I am looking forward to this episode, and I definitely can't wait and see what it has. So anyway, let's move on to the Diantha image here. Or, no, actually, there's one more image that we need to talk first before we get... And this is in relation to powering up and stuff. This is just a small thing or whatever, because we have Clement here, we have Ash and Greninja, and then we have all these waves that we saw in the preview. Then we have Greninja and Ash looking at their things on the wrist, and we see Ash Greninja in full, and then we see Olympia, and we see all those images there, whatever. So this is what it says. Predicting the future with science. What will happen with Greninja? Clement investigates the mysterious phenomenon that happens to Ash and Greninja. I investigated Ash and Greninja's battle pulse. The battle pulse measure device. A device that investigates the two's data. The result. Their battle pulse overlaps. Greninja only changes form during battle when the two's pulses overlap as a single one. This is evidence that their hearts and souls are strongly connected. Their movements are identical. Is this their true power? In recent battles, Ash and Greninja movements have also become one, which has led to them exhibiting incredible power. Is this the ultimate form Ash and the others aim for? It is, just as foreseen. Perhaps this is the future of further greatness that Olympia, who possesses the power to see the future, foretold. So yeah, just a little bit more about Ash Greninja and stuff, and who knows, maybe this upcoming episode will be when Ash Greninja loses its form, and maybe that causes Ash to overload or whatever. A lot of people are hinting that this might just lead up into some sort of depression arc or something like that, and while it does seem possible, again, I have to say that there's just not enough episodes left for this, so I just don't know if it'll make any sense. So I think it's just going to be Diantha, Sawyer, and Wulfric or whatever, where there's going to be this particular test of Ash Greninja after what happens with the lawn. Maybe Ash Greninja doesn't happen against Sawyer, and maybe that'll be a thing. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens then. So let's go ahead and move on to the Diantha one. The Diantha image here. So of course we have Diantha Gardevoir. We have, I think, Mega Gardevoir using Shadow Ball. Then I think we have regular Gardevoir and it uses Pikachu. I think this is in relation to the previous video. And then of course below that we have Greninja, which looks like it's using Ash Greninja using Double Team and then striking. I think that's Mega Gardevoir below that, and then of course we'll... So what does it say about this? And this is one of the more shocking ones or whatever, but it says Diantha and Mega Gardevoir. Diantha is the champion of the Kalos region. These two literally are the most skilled duo in the region, once again appears before Ash. In their last battle, the battle ended before she even Mega evolved. Pikachu went up against Gardevoir, and this is the result of Gardevoir displaying its overwhelming power. Please show me Greninja's power. How will this episode's battle go? The champion is driven into a corner. Ash Greninja delivers one quick tap after another, not the actual move, but it just means fast attacks after another. Diantha has Gardevoir Mega Evolved to fight back. Now, a lot of people are already criticizing this because they're like, Ash shouldn't be pushing Diantha into a corner with Gardevoir in base form since it should be so strong. But I actually believe that it makes perfect sense that a Pokemon that is so used to the power of Mega Evolution will have a hard time battling in its normal form because it's so used to that power that it expects to be able to do the same things as it can as a Mega Evolved Pokemon as opposed to just its base form. So I feel like Gardevoir is kind of out of the league in regards to Ash Greninja, because I think Ash Greninja is faster and is also very strong, that even if Gardevoir was definitely stronger than it, I think Ash Greninja can compensate that. And in the forums, I use the example of Dragon Ball Z. Remember, if you've seen Dragon Ball Z, if you haven't, I apologize. But if you've seen Dragon Ball Z, you at least may have seen the Cell Saga. And when Vegeta was fighting against Cell after he beat after he swallowed Android 18, I believe, he became that kind of perfect form, I believe. And then, of course, Vegeta was fighting him, but he couldn't make any chances or whatever. And then it was Trunks, future Trunks, that came in and did that really strong attack. And he was strong enough to handle Cell. But the issue, of course, was that Trunks was too slow. So even if Trunks was strong enough to hit Cell, to beat Cell, Cell was just so much faster. I think that's what's happening in this particular instance. Greninja, Ash-Greninja, is just too fast for Gardevoir base form to handle, so therefore it needs to become Mega Gardevoir and be able to take the hits better and possibly be able to launch the attacks better so it can actually combat Greninja. I think that's what it's saying here. I don't think it's saying that Ash is better than Diantha, it's just that Gardevoir needs its Mega Evolution to combat Ash-Greninja because Gardevoir in of itself isn't strong or fast enough to keep up with Greninja, so it needs that extra power boost that Mega Evolution gives it. I think that's what it means, and hopefully I'm right, because otherwise there would be no real reason I can think of why Diantha would need to go Mega Evolution, and that's kind of the problem that a lot of people are overlooking. Why even have Diantha use Mega Gardevoir if she should already be strong enough as Gardevoir base form? And it's possible that Diantha is only as strong as she is because of Mega Gardevoir, and while Gardevoir is strong as it is, it just needs that power boost of Mega Evolution. And see, that's kind of the problem, because Cynthia's Garchomp is already strong as it is. Imagine Cynthia's Garchomp Mega Evolving. That thing would be probably impossible. It could probably take on Uber Legendaries at that particular point, probably. But anyway, that's all I have to pretty much say about this particular episode until we get a preview or more summaries or whatever. So hopefully look forward to that. And then we get into one of the next ones, which of course is Sawyer. So of course we have this image. We have Greninja versus Sceptile base form. We have base form Sceptile and Sceptile. And then we have Doublade here, Klotzer, as well as Sceptile battling against Greninja. So this is what this particular episode says, or this particular image. May 12th, XY&Z episode 26. Rival Showdown, Ash versus Sawyer. Versus Sawyer. Battle oh wait, that's the image title. Never mind, sorry. Sorry, I said versus Sawyer. Battle 3, Sawyer and Sceptile. Sawyer looks up to Ash and has assembled experience from lots of battles. He has had Ash as his goal for some time now and is challenging him to a third battle. Let's see. First one, second one. Well, I'd say technically this is the fourth battle, but third big one, because the first battle was just a double battle, so I don't know how much importance that was. But in their last battle, Ash and Greninja won. Sawyer Sceptile fought with an advantage, but Ash Greninja still defeated it with a single blow. I will surpass Ash one day. How will this episode's battle go? Sawyer's strategy is well thought and executed. Sawyer, who has researched Ash as much as possible, proposes a 3-on-3 match. But will this strategy work out? Now, I'm hoping this is a real 3-on-3 match and not just a series of one-on-ones like we've been getting. So, I don't know. It depends on how this will be, but it's probably just the same. It's probably the same thing that we've always gotten. So of course, in the image that I showed you, Sawyer has shown up with a Klotzer, which is really nice, and his Honedge has evolved into Doublade. So, my thoughts about this particular episode: I still want Noivern to get more battle focus outside of just battling against Alon, so I'm hoping Noivern is here. It's probably going to be Pikachu, since I don't think Pikachu is going to be in the gym battle against Wulfric, so it makes sense for Pikachu to be here. And then, of course, the obvious choice of Greninja. What this means, however, is I'm thinking Pikachu should go against Doublade, and then Noivern can go against Klotzer, and then Greninja can go against Sceptile. That's my early speculations. I'm probably wrong, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen. So that's that particular speculation. Now, I know I've been saying this in the particular forums and stuff about my feelings about this. What I don't want, and I know this is in the future, but right now what I don't want is Sawyer to beat Ash in the league. I'm always going to say that. I'm always going to say that. I'm going to be upset if it actually says that, if that actually happens, but I don't want Sawyer to beat Ash in the league. Now, my problem is if Sceptile in its base form somehow beats Ash-Greninja, or it ties or whatever, my problem is then in the next battle, probably the league, probably, when Sawyer has a Mega Sceptile, my problem is, of course, Greninja isn't going to be able to beat Sceptile, and that's a little disturbing. So, if Ash-Greninja battles Sawyer's Sceptile, and it's not just base form Greninja, then of course I want Sceptile to lose easily. So that way it could be a little bit closer when it becomes Mega Sceptile, outside of Mega Sceptile just being so superior to Greninja that Greninja can't combat it even as Ash-Greninja. But that's just my personal opinion. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what that means later on. So we'll just move on to the last image that we have, and of course, by now, I think you've already guessed, since I haven't said anything yet in regards to anything else, this I'm not exactly looking forward to. Now, I was a little worried in the beginning because I thought this was just going to be a 2 versus 2, and I hated that it was just going to be like a carbon copy of Valerie, probably reversed with Talonflame beating, but it seems that Greninja is going to appear in this gym battle, and I'm not exactly happy about that at all. So, if you guessed Wolfric, you were right. So, the title is on May 19th, XY&Z episode 27, Snowbell Gym Match, a battlefield of ice versus, okay. Battle 4, Wolfric and Abomasnow. Ash challenges Wolfric of the Snowbell Gym for the 8th badge. He has to go up against a lineup of tough ice Pokemon. Come on, try melting my ice. Heavyweighter Pokemon stand in Ash's way. All of the massive Wolfric's Pokemon are super heavy. Ash challenges Avalugg with his Hawlucha, which is kind of strange, which has a type advantage, but Abomasnow attacks with Wood Hammer while jumping. It seems to smash the entire ground. Now this is weird because in the preview we saw Hawlucha battling against Abomasnow, and even in this image we actually see Avalugg. So I don't know what this means. Does that mean Talonflame cannot beat Avalugg? Or does it mean that Avalugg is the final Pokemon and Hawlucha beats Abomasnow just to lose to Avalugg? I don't know what this means. I don't know what the third Pokemon of Wolfric would be, and if Ash is using Greninja or whatever. But the thing that I'm upset about this, and I did say this probably in a video, like I said, I'm not entirely sure, but I was very worried about Greninja getting too much focus, and this illustrates my problem. I knew this was going to happen. Well, not exactly, but I knew that Greninja, because of Ash-Greninja, was going to get so much focus. And on top of that, it also gets to participate against Wolfric. That's my problem with this particular episode already. Is that what I dislike is that Greninja is being used here. Because basically, we've gotten so many episodes with Greninja. We had the training of Greninja in the previous Serena episode. We have the Ash and Alon episode coming next Thursday. A Break for Phantom episode. And then we have Diantha, Sawyer, and of course Abomasnow, which is very disappointing, and I really was not expecting or liking this particular thing. So 3 episodes in a row and all this focus, and that's not even counting the Ash-Greninja focus we're going to get in the Team Flare arc climax, because we know Ash-Greninja is going to be a participant in that, maybe even battling against Alon and even beating Alon's Charizard. We're going to have to deal with that as well. And then, of course, Ash-Greninja is probably going to be a very, very major player in the Pokemon League, as well as any other random episodes in the future. So what I didn't want is all this focus and then give Greninja the 8th gym battle. So I'm a little disappointed that this actually happened, but oh well, that's just how it's going to be, and maybe we'll get some more information later on of exactly what's going on, because even though we have a basic idea of what's happening here, maybe we'll get a summary later on. And speaking of that, there is data broadcast that I do have to mention, and of course this is the correction. Now, due to the new titles and the odd placement of the data broadcast Pokemon, I mean, Doublade in a episode about Ash versus Alon, and then of course we get Avalugg for the Phantom episode, Snorlax for the Diantha episode, and then of course Abomasnow for what we presumed was the gym battle. So of course, what it seems like is that because, let's see, I think it's Alon, Phantom, and Diantha that is not going to have data broadcast Pokemon. And the reason why is because Defender, the moderator of Sarity forums that knows and understands Japanese, and a lot of these translations come from Defender. When I talk about translations, a lot of these come from Defender, like summary translations and stuff. He has said that because of that Pokemon lottery for the next movie, that there probably aren't going to be data broadcasts for those 3 weeks, which means that the Doublade that we got is actually for the Sawyer episode title that we got, and that makes a lot of sense. So that means everything was pushed down a couple of episodes. So what this particular means outside of the lottery distribution is that for those particular 3 weeks, Ash versus Alon, Phantom, and Diantha, instead of data broadcasts, we're going to get the lotto where people vote for who's going to be distributed at the next movie, which is what the movie lottery thing is for. You vote for the Pokemon you want to be distributed at the Magirna movie in Japan. And that's kind of also why I don't really mention that, because it doesn't really affect me, and I don't know how much it affects you, but it is a thing that happens. So what this means is Doublade is for the Sawyer episode that we're getting, Avalugg is for the gym battle, Snorlax there's no title for, and then we get Abomasnow. If you remember correctly, Abomasnow was one of the data broadcast Pokemon. So what exactly could this mean? Could it mean that the first gym battle, Snowbell Gym Batch, a battlefield device, is it possible that we're going to get an interruption where we get into a Pokemon Village episode in the following episode in regards to Snorlax, and maybe Team Rocket are there attacking Snorlax, and then of course Wulfric and Ash have to come together to save Snorlax? Does that mean that the following episode, Abomasnow, where Abomasnow is the data broadcast Pokemon, can we assume that at that particular moment there will be a rematch? Well, not necessarily a rematch because Ash lost, but another gym battle with Wulfric to make up for the fact that maybe they got interrupted in the previous episode. So could this potentially mean that Noivern could appear in the Snorlax episode and learn a new attack, and then it'll be Noivern and Greninja in the rematch or something? Is that what we're expecting? Or are we really only getting one episode for Wulfric's gym battle, but we're going to get a couple more episodes with Wulfric and his Pokemon? I don't know what that means, but I guess we'll have to see. Because of this, because of those no titles, it also means that Carbink doesn't have a title yet, in which we'll have to wait a couple of more weeks, even more than necessary, to find out what's going to happen in regards to Carbink, because Carbink was kind of hinted at the gym battle, I believe, or something like that. Yeah, because maybe Snorlax. Yes, because we had Sawyer, and I think that's what hit Defender, because after Diantha was supposed to be the gym battle, but since it was Sawyer and it was Abomasnow, that meant that Carbink was for the gym battle, and that didn't really make any sense. So Carbink, we still have no idea what that is. We also are no closer to understanding what Pancham, and because this is around June at this particular point, I'm going to guess that the Charizard episode is the start of the Team Flare arc. In fact, we might get Zygarde complete after Charizard in the data broadcast Pokemon. Since it's been a while, and for whatever reason, I don't know why they haven't shown Zygarde complete yet, because we had that calendar that showed that Sylveon was going to appear in February, Ash-Greninja in December, and they were sort of right, even though Eevee evolved in January. We still don't have anything in regards to Zygarde complete, and it's already past April, because the last April episode, of course, is the Phantup episode, and that means that the Diantha episode is the first May episode, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a little weird that that's going to be the case here. So, yeah, it's like it said for March Zygarde complete, so yeah. So, of course, I'm going to assume that the Charizard episode that we're going to get is probably in relation to Team Flare and Alon probably coming off as a bad guy, trying to take Puny Chan from Ash and Company and potentially succeeding. And then, of course, Bonnie will be upset and Ash will be like, Alon? Of course, later on they'll find out why Alon did this, and of course everything will be happy-go-lucky after the Team Flare climax. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen, but that's everything that I have to say in this particular video. And in relation to the intro, yeah, it is a little annoying that those 3 weeks we didn't get any data broadcast Pokemon. And of course, that kind of screwed up with the speculations of what was going to happen. Because now we can assume that Wolfric is not going to appear in the Phantom episode, and Snorlax is not going to appear in the Diantha episode. Especially with Doublade actually being the one for the Sawyer episode. So yeah, at least we got some corrections in regards to why it was being weird or whatever. But it's still a little annoying that it took so long before we actually could figure out what was happening with the data broadcast Pokemon. So anyway, I think that's all I have to say about this particular video. Pokemon fan, data broadcast discussions, so any more in relation to the episodes will happen at a later time. So thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.